BSHF 101 Unit 27 Information and Communication Technology. The term information and communication technology is generally associated with the use of computer and internet for purpose of communication, but this is not a complete and accurate definition of ICT, information and communication technology. In fact, the term information and communication technology ICT incorporates all other technologies used for communication like orthographic text, radio, television, including specially devised telecommunication technologies. If we look at the term of parts, information has been used for ages for accumulated data of all types. The internalization of information is said to be knowledge. ICT is transfer of accumulated information through one or combination of media and the use of modern technologies. So, a printed book would not be a part of the ICT, but a book or any piece of textual or otherwise information available on an electronic platform either through telecommunication or stored on an electronic platform would be considered part of the ICT. ICT has influenced the various facets of our lives. It is difficult to find one area which is unaffected by ICT. Whatever it is, and whether it is an office, a classroom, home or kitchen. This influence of ICT is also on the way we think and adopt lifestyles, which has enormous effect on our societies. ICT is hugely impacting our lives and societies. In this unit, we will examine some of the areas which have been influenced by ICT. In Unit 4 of the first block of this course, we have read about the post-industrial society. We saw how the shift to service sector economies there has been an emergence of information and communication industries. The society too has changed, with focus on groups whose occupation relates to the white-collar jobs and professionals. It is in this context that we try to orient you in this unit on various utility aspects of the information and communication technologies. In the era of globalization, ICT has come to occupy a vital place. Role of information and communication technology. We have already discussed in Unit 16 on governance of this course about the changes being brought about globally under the impact of liberalization and privatization. One of its positive impact is the increasing use of ICT in several spheres. ICT initiatives are bringing the global community closer. For instance, we are aware that on the click of a computer mouse or button, one gets access to any type of information one is seeking. We are entering the age of paperless, borderless and interactive world of electronic governance or e-governance. Since the 1980s, the role of ICT in various domains is gaining prominence. In this section, we shall highlight the role of ICT in three major spheres. With the help of ICT, it has become possible to store an enormous amount of information at one place, which was not possible before. So much information in different forms such as text, sound, picture, including moving picture, could not be stored at one place earlier. Searching for information has also become very easy and fast. Millions of entries can be searched within seconds. Similarly, the machines can generate several options. For example, in case of nabbing criminals, wherein with the help of ICT pictures of criminals are generated, the fingerprints of persons from the previously saved fingerprints are matched, and so on. Similarly, millions of answer sheets can be evaluated provided there is a pattern in the answer, as in the case of objective type of questions. This has also become much easier than before, and also occurrences of error have been minimized. ICT has been able to provide some of the facilities which were not available earlier. ICT performs three major roles in social sector. These are of knowledge provider, employment provider, and education provider. ICT as knowledge provider. ICT has come as a boon to the poor nations and less privileged people because worldwide identical information can be accessed within seconds. The information available on the internet can be accessed from any part of the world. Even the best libraries in any region cannot afford to procure all the books published. Earlier, there have been difficulties in accessing information. With the advent of internet, now everyone can get identical and up-to-date information. As soon as a piece of information is uploaded on the internet, everyone gets access to it. It was a common complaint earlier that the most recent books could be afforded by only the most affluent. But with the coming of the internet, everyone is able to get the information. Initially, all information provided on the internet was free and people were in fact provided incentives for accessing information. But now some of the information provided but now some of the information can be acquired only on payment of money. In fact, providers at times charges so exorbitantly that most people in the developing world cannot afford to get information from these sources. Information provided free of cost often comes out to be common knowledge, and findings of any recent research or writings of popular writers are exorbitantly charged. Many a time, information seekers get frustrated as even after hours of internet surfing, they get no information worth the name, and the information they consider useful is not provided free. The costs are so high that they cannot afford. It is also necessary to mention that a major part of such payments go to companies and institutions which are providing such services, especially in the developed world. ICT as employment provider. ICT has made it possible for people to work from one part of the world to employees from other parts of the world. You may have come across the term call centers, where people start work at late hours and finish working only during the early hours of the day. Have you ever thought what kind of work these offices perform? These offices undertake assignments from overseas and work for foreign countries. What sort of assignments do these offices undertake? Some of the offices transcribe the medical transcription recorded by the doctors and help the hospitals and clinics in providing neatly written prescriptions to patients, as well as respond to local calls by clients for assistance, etc. ICT as education provider. One of the major implications of ICT is witnessed in the field of education. Nowadays, learners have started taking courses offered online. This means course contents are put on the internet and learners access the site and study the course material on their own. The providing institution on admission gives a password to the learner and the learner can access the site and read the content. Wherever learners face problems, they send a mail to the counselor who responds to the mail and provides helpful guidelines. Once the learner is confident that she has understood the course content, can opt to appear for the examination. The examination is also at times held online. The evaluation is also done online. The certificate is dispatched by the providing institution through surface mail, and the student can then call oneself a certificate holder of that particular institution. If you examine the process new, you will find that the providing institution has done nothing but developing a site and everything is done automatically. ICT thus facilitates the provision of avenues for education. It must be clear to you that ICT can augment quality and help provide better education. If institutions from two different countries collaborate and use ICT to provide education, it can prove to be a great asset, but if it is not used in collaborative mode, it may turn out to be a source of exploitation as well. Providing latest content is very easy through online courses, but making changes in print-based courses not only requires a lot of resources but also immense efforts. ICT is very useful if updated information is to be provided. ICT facilitates the incorporation of frequent changes to the content. Competition leads to improvement in quality. Institutions permitting less interaction with outside world slowly turn into degree churning bodies. ICT can make things more transparent and slowly develop a sense of competition with the outside world. This will help institutions grow and strengthen and also help augment the quality of education. Traditional campus-based education requires learners to devote a substantial time to the study of course material, but ICT-based courses need not require long duration of time, as the duration of some of the courses vary from a few hours to a few years. These courses can provide updation on a certain topic, which facilitates effective performance of tasks. No learner can go to a campus for acquiring knowledge about a specific area, but the internet-based course facilitates this. As the corpus of knowledge is expanding, people can learn on their own by devoting time between working hours. But this is not possible in campus-based institutions. Learning can become a habit amongst people opting for ICT-based courses. Information and communication technology, socio-economic implications. ICT is being resorted to improve productivity, efficiency, effective utilization of resources, etc. However, it has certain socio-economic implications, especially in developing countries. These are discussed below. Cost of information and communication technology. Generally, we witness very swift changes in the hardware and also software of ICT. Unlike the traditional system, the resources could be used for years, but ICT infrastructure as well as software gets outdated. Institutions which do not have high flow of money and run on low budget cannot survive in the competitive market. The consumers will like to get the best services and goods, as the large companies can afford to spend more to make their services information more efficient and up to date, and in turn attract more clients will survive and the small companies will be lost in the competitive market. It is a well-known fact that companies in the developing countries do not have as high a budget as the companies in the developed world. Hence, the chances of their their success is low from the initiation stage. Digital divide. ICT has divided the whole world into two parts. One of those who possess the wealth and so can afford the ICT gadgets and services, and other of those who do not have the required wealth to acquire or possess the gadgets and the services. As it would be apparent from the above, the rich countries and the rich people, even in the poor countries, can afford to make use of the ICT services and would be able to survive in the technological era. But those who cannot afford would slowly lag behind in the race towards development. In other words, those who are wealthy would become wealthier and those who are poor would continue to become poorer. This will have implications on individuals, families, societies, and even nations. It is generally believed that ICT may have created a new class of untouchables living in information poverty at one level and new cadre of high technology entrepreneurs on the other. A report released by World Economic Forum 2002 concluded that India had the widest digital divide. According to the report, though the internet was increasingly popular, there were only 4.5 million internet users and 43 internet service providers. Urban areas mainly have defined by ICT. New Delhi, for example, accounts for more than 70% of India's internet connections. ICT and disadvantaged sections. ICT no doubt has brought about significant developments, but whether it is able to make any difference to the disadvantaged sections of the society is a debatable. For example, we all know that Andhra Pradesh is the most ICT friendly state in India. It also has a sizable number of farmers committing suicides as a fallout of viscous poverty conditions. This raises certain questions as to whether ICT has assisted the poor to gain access to internet facilities, in increasing agricultural production, in getting rid of their debt trap, etc. An important issue that needs to be examined is whether ICT initiatives take into account the specific needs and expectations of the people. ICT and empowerment of rural communities. An important aspect that is generally overlooked is whether ICT is able to empower the rural communities. There are many parts of India where electricity and telephone connectivity are not easily available. It needs to be examined whether ICT can really bring some improvement in the rural areas where the minimum infrastructure facilities are totally lacking. ICT and marginalization of traditional technologies. The overemphasis on ICT can lead to its displacing low-cost traditional technological devices which are still being used by the poor for their livelihoods. Wherever possible, modern ICT need to be combined with traditional means of communication. Information is a key resource which facilitates sharing, exchanging, retaining, as well as managing effectively the knowledge input. The success of ICT initiatives depends on relating it to the specific development requirements of a country. Another important aspect is to spread it to the local levels. Social sustainability is equally important as generally the initial interest and enthusiasm about a new technology quickly wanes. In India, the government is taking several measures in this direction. The Information Technology Act has been passed in 2000. There is a national risk force on IT and software development and a Department of Information Technology. Efforts are being made to extend ICT to rural and remote mass, establishing internet centers and applying ICT to agriculture, health, education, and so on. ICT can definitely make its impact if the pertinent socio-economic concerns are taken care of. It needs to empower the downtrodden, strengthen their capacities, and promote a conducive culture of information sharing amongst all the stakeholders. Summary. ICT, you must have realized, is a double-edged sword. We can neither fully avoid it nor fully adopt it. By avoiding ICT, a nation will lose in the race to development, and by adopting it, the nation will run the risk of being sucked of all its resources. The developed and affluent agencies which can develop attractive sites and provide up-to-date information will be able to generate quick money. In the present day scenario, ICT has the vital task of providing knowledge, education, and employment. The world has became a global village. The hassles of accessing information have been minimized. ICT does not simply imply the utilization of computers, e-governance mechanisms, internet, etc. These are the different technologies and play specific role in promotion of ICT. What is needed is to utilize these technologies in optimum manner for bringing about all-round development. The socio-economic implications of ICT have to be kept in view while formulating a holistic ICT policy.